Being postponed on multiple occasions due to COVID-19. The World Economic Forum is going ahead in Davos at the moment. It's a crucial time as the forum confronts unprecedented global issues, from the pandemic, of course, to the devastating impact of the climate crisis and, of course, the war in Ukraine. Joining me now from Davos in Switzerland is the youth delegate at the World Economic Forum, Taylor Hawkins. Taylor, great to have you. Thanks so much for joining us on News Breakfast. And you're the only young Australian speaking at many events here. That's a pretty big deal. What are you talking about?
Yeah, it certainly has me quite busy. I've already spoken on youth mistrust, so how we can rebuild those bridges between generations. And then tomorrow I'm speaking about how we can turn words into action.
Words into action in what sense?
In the sense that I believe these conferences and gatherings are incredibly valuable. They bring unity and hope, but that only takes us so far. We need to move into actually creating material solutions.
Okay. To the climate crisis is obviously one big issue. The war in Ukraine is another one. People continuously do actually question the value of these big talking shops like Davos, like the World Economic Forum, as just being a place for people to come together and talk. And over the years, do you think that they actually have shown that they have value? Because as you say, they pretty much just are talking shops.
I think it's a really important question that you're asking, and I think there's a growing self-awareness within these spaces that is something that needs to be interrogated. It's a lot of the conversations that I've been part of and that the 55-person youth delegation that I'm part of has been pushing for, which is how can we incubate ideas that are discussed here and roll them out. So do I think that there's a risk that it can just be a talking show at events like this? Absolutely. Do I think there's a growing awareness and efforts and initiatives to try and resolve that? That's also the case.
Okay. Hey, we obviously had a big deal here in Australia over the weekend, which is the change in government. Have people been talking to you about that there in Davos?
I have had a few high fives and congratulations, some excitement on some good climate policy coming our way, hopefully. But yeah, definitely a lot of recognition of that result here.
Okay, so people have been watching it and there's hope on the climate issue, is there?
That is definitely the sentiment that I have been receiving.
All right, okay. Just finally, one of your big themes that you work a lot on, Taylor, and you talk about is leadership and the need for long-term leadership rather than short-term leadership. Given what we've seen in Australia and in the political sphere recently, you know, what are your thoughts for how we actually go about that? Being a person of the younger generation, this really matters to you.
Absolutely. And I think I obviously have the frustration that a lot of young people have. In turn, I have a huge amount of empathy for the leaders currently having to take on those mantles in Australia and around the world. I think our incentive structures, both in the private sector and in the public sector, work against long-term policy and decision-making. So what I think we need is to create infrastructure that supports leaders and enables them to make good policy and good decisions, such as what we're seeing in Wales with the Future Generations Commissioner.
Okay, all right. Well, look, we'll have to leave it there, but good luck there and enjoy it. And I'm sure you're flying the flag high for Australia.
Thank you for having me.
Quite a big deal. All of the captains of industry and leaders of the world go there.